Good morning, Millers. Welcome to the weekly webcast. This is not going to be your usual weekly webcast this week. We are truly living history right now, and so we're going to take some extra time today to look at the events that are happening around us and process that because it is really close to home for everyone in the Washburn community. And so not only with the Chauvin trial happening, but also then the killing of Daunte Wright, and there was even another shooting on Monday. I realize that for some of us, this is really difficult. It can feel triggering. It can feel like you can't get away from it, and it can be really, really uncomfortable. And I apologize if this is really hard, but I also want to name that being uncomfortable is part of the process of growing with regard to racial justice and racial equity, and it's okay if you feel uncomfortable looking at some of these hard realities of things that are happening in our community when Black people are dying and shouldn't be. And so we may get uncomfortable. And I know there are also students who would like to see us doing more. And I also apologize that we are trying to balance both of those things. And so thank you in advance for your time and attention and participation. Because we are truly in a civil rights movement that we need to be active participants in. It matters for Washburn, it matters for Minneapolis, it matters for America. And so I love you. I hope that this is good and worth your time today.
Hey everybody, my name is Elsie. I'm a youth activist in the community. I'm Afro-Mexican. This is a poem in response to the killing of Daunte Wright on April 11th, 2021. Yeah. Another day. Scroll down the epic to his name. I didn't know life was worth less than an air freshener today, or yesterday, or on Sunday, April 11th, 2021. I pray that son knows his dad would have been there for Father's Day. It took 3 hours to pick up his body. Let me rephrase that. It took 3+ hours to pick up a trauma-filled body, but it only took 1 second to take Daunte Wright away from his mom's hands, his son's arms, away from existing, from being Black. They lack the understanding to see that there were the change. We're going to deconstruct a system that we now spit on with shame. The ones who lost their lives to a system that is rotten, unstable, corrupted, unworthy to call them the people who protect us, the heroes when they hurt us the most. One gunshot, bam, he's dead. An air freshener can do so much harm. A traffic violation can do so much harm. Trying to fight back systems that deny violation can do so much harm. Trying to fight back systems that deny our existence can do us so much harm. So many names have to be written in that book. How many? Before our bodies fail to function, our emotions deny us help, and our brain kills us slowly by our generational trauma, our blood. We're going to start a riot after riot after riot until they take us seriously. When 400 years of slavery, aggression, abuse, and barbaric trials have been present, we know that white supremacy has gone too long to not be dismantled as well. 20 years of Daunte's life was taken away because he got out. He got out of the safety of his home and into a vehicle, not knowing that on April 11, 2021, he was going to become the next name we chant for justice. It's time to show up. It's time to let police know we don't trust nor respect them in our streets, in our schools, in our communities. They don't think twice of getting to know our communities. A mother had to grieve because she birthed a child and lived on this earth with him for 20 years just for a cop to not understand that an air freshener is not a sign of threat. What caused him to crash wasn't a sign of threat. Wasn't the reason why Dante was shot. Going out and living and being black or of color was why he and many others were shot just this year alone. A body shouldn't lay on the ground for 3 hours. Black mothers raise a child in their womb with trauma in their blood and fear that they will be taken away from them. We dig ourselves out as people of color out of 6-foot holes on the ground to find out there's another one already dug up for us. Let's keep our revolution alive, forever resting. Dante Wright. Thank you.
I'm Simone, and as you know, some of us are back in the building, and I'm here to talk to you about proper precautions about being back in person, specifically vaccines. I got mine on Tuesday, and if you don't know, vaccines are open to all Minnesotans 16 and over. Although it's not mandatory, I encourage you to search for a vaccine and get tested regularly.
Hi seniors, this message is for you. Graduation is coming soon. Our speech committee will be accepting one student's speech. If you're interested in writing a speech, please come see me. They are due May 3rd or 4th.
Hey seniors, I'm Molly from your 2021 prom committee. Prom is happening this year, and because of COVID protocols, it's going to be seniors only. It's going to be happening on May 14th at the Minneapolis Institute of Art courtyard. Since it's outside, we also have a rain date planned for the next day for May 15th. So make sure to check your emails for all the details because you need to reserve your tickets and then pay from the dates April 19th to April 30th to make sure to reserve your spot. See you there!
Hey guys, it's Washburn Green Team, and this week we are challenging you to Earth Day week. And so on Monday we challenge you to donate clothes to Washburn Cares or upcycle some clothes and send in a picture. You can send in a picture to our Instagram, which is at Washburn Green Team, or our email, which is minneapoliswashburngreenteam@gmail.com. And then our next segment in the webcast, we will feature you. And then Tuesday and Friday is walk, bike, or take public transit to school, sports, clubs, work, or anything else that you are doing outside of your house. And then Wednesday is try to go plastic free. And then Thursday, which is Earth Day, is pick up trash around your neighborhood or just any outdoor area that you see trash. So thank you, and we hope you participate.
Hi, I'm Roz, and I'm your yearbook editor for next year. We are now opening applications, and you should have gotten an email this morning to your school account that has a Google form that you can apply through. If you want to be a part of yearbook, fill out the form, and we will be meeting on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7:30 a.m. in the Media Center in the Blue Lab, or you can join online through a Google Meet. If you want to buy your yearbook, we have already ordered them, so you should order it now. You can order through the Washburn website or through Jostens' website.
One thing that white people can do to advance racial justice is not only listening to voices of color, but also amplifying voices of color. So that means you're not only hearing from me today, but also I'm making sure to use this platform of the webcast so that you can hear from a range of voices of color as well. Both of those things.
Protection is a 10-letter word, a noun. 10 letters pushed together with intense meaning. We all had a time when our stuffed animals would protect us from the monsters under our bed, or from the pitch black closets that made coats look like monsters in the night. But who's going to protect me from the world who thinks I'm a threat, sleeping in my own bed, or walking in the park with a black hoodie on, minding my own business? Who's going to protect my little cousin when he gets pulled over by a cop in the future? Who's going to protect him from slipping into the real world, where the people who are supposed to protect us are the people taking the life of the people who look like me. How many more black and brown lives need to be taken away from the world for people to realize how unprotected we really are? This world has a weird way of protecting black lives, because the moment your child walks out of your living arms into the real world, they aren't being welcomed into the home of the free, land of the brave side of America. They're being welcomed into the home of the chained, land of the slave side of America. And you can't do anything about that to prepare them for the cruel, selfish, and selfless world we wake up to every morning. Protection is a 10-lettered word, a noun. And I will stretch out this 10-lettered word around the world until my family and my people are protected from the things and the monsters that hide in the dark.
Hello, my name is Mr. Bird. I'm a 9th grade English teacher here at Washburn. Just wanted to give you, the students, some thoughts that I've been having about what's been going on pretty much all my life. Like, this is nothing new. I know for you young folks, you're kind of oh my gosh, this is, I'm going to try hard not to be super negative, but it is okay to be negative. Like, that's a valid feeling, and you can go with that feeling. Having said that, I'm all over the place. I'm having a difficult time processing everything. I'm everywhere from shocked to disillusioned to hopeful, and with that, there are just certain conversations that need to be had. So this is for students of color. Really be mindful of the environment that you are in. There are certain spaces where when you're in those areas, you need to be hyper aware of what is around you.
Before we get started, I do want to address the killing of Daunte Wright. He should be alive today. And to his family and loved ones, you must know that the President and I grieve with you as the nation grieves his loss, and we stand with you. Our nation needs justice and healing, and law enforcement must be held to the highest standards of accountability. At the same time, we know that folks will keep dying if we don't fully address racial injustice and inequities in our country, from implicit bias to broken systems.
Hey Millers, this is Mr. Aziz, 9th grade and 11th grade assistant principal. For many members of our community, there's intense anger, sadness, and exhaustion over the senseless killings that have occurred throughout the history of the United States. Whether we're talking about Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, Daunte Wright, or the Red Summer of 1919, feeling anger, sadness, or exhaustion all makes sense. My request to all of you is to be understanding of how others may be processing these times and realize they may be processing differently than you. Some of us may need to talk. Others of us may need time to not talk. Some of us may need time to cry. Others may need to protest. In these moments, I would ask you to consider how you might show strength by listening to the spoken and unspoken voices of others. Take care of yourselves, Millers.
Hello, everyone. My name is Shane Eady, and I'm one of the art teachers here at Washburn High School. I want to first make a note that, life is a beautiful thing. And for us, for people of color, for white people, yellow people, anybody, I think we really need to believe that, because it's so true. Our community is suffering. People of color, poor people, white, black, are suffering. And we need to acknowledge that.
When George Floyd was murdered, a young woman stood on the sidewalk and made the choice to videotape to hold the police accountable. That young woman was Darnella Fraser. She's my former student, a young woman that I know, who I worked with for 3 years when I was her middle school principal. So for me, I've looked at that entire situation always through her eyes. And I imagine standing there for Darnella how that situation unfolded. And the thing I think about a lot as a teacher and a principal is how the school system spends so much time teaching students to obey authority and respond to authority. And yet, in that moment, what Darnella was called to do, what was right to do, was the exact opposite of that. Was not to obey authority, because no doubt they told her to stop filming, but instead to bear witness in a way that was important for the entire country. So we having to look as educators at our conscience and ask, okay, how are we in this building systems? And we've been working on that all year this year for asking, how do we build systems that are respectful of everyone's humanity and not just constantly telling young people this is what you do because we said so and because it's the rule, because we know that the rules are built to advantage those who already have power, and we don't have a real meritocracy in America yet.
Hey Millers, with the recent events happening in Minneapolis with the Derek Chauvin trial for the murder of George Floyd and the recent killing of Daunte Wright in Brooklyn Center, you start to feel all these emotions like sad, frustrated, mad, angry, and so much more. Your friends in your community are probably feeling the same way, so make sure you reach out and check up on them and make sure they're doing okay. White people, use your voice, be an ally, stand up for what you believe in. You might think there's not much you can do, but there's so much you can do. We are the face of the new generation, and we are here to make a change and make things right and do what we believe in. You can show up to protests, marches, volunteer work, donations, and so much more, not just post on social media. If you are planning on going to protests, make sure you go with at least one other person, whether that be a friend or a family member. Be prepared for anything that could happen. Make a plan just in case something does. Be safe, Millers, and use your voice.
Hey Millers, I'm Nagach. If you haven't seen my face before, I am also a fellow Miller and I'm in the 11th grade. I'm also a community organizer and activist. Me and my organization, Minnesota Teen Activists, have strategically organized a statewide walkout to stand in solidarity with Daunte Wright and his family and to stand up against racial inequality that our state has faced for far too long. As we bear witness to such brutal situations, it is difficult to focus on academics and such chaos is happening around us. And to not speak up or say anything is to comply, which we will not allow. The walkout will be taking place on Monday the 19th at 1 p.m. You can walk out of your room or of the school building. If you do walk out of the school building, it should be known that once you leave the building, you cannot come back into the building. So you should have a plan. The rally will be at US Bank Stadium, so have a way to get there. Be there by or before 1:47, for we'll be having a moment of silence at 1:47. That is the time that Daunte Wright was shot by police. After that, we'll be having a rally where there'll be speakers from all over there'll be high school speakers from different high schools who will speak out about these problems, and also you'll be hearing from me. If you're having a hard time just processing all of this stuff, reach out to Washburn counselors or social workers or admin, and they'd be happy to talk to you. I would also be happy to talk to you. Have a great day.
Hey Millers, I hope you guys are all doing okay in this time of sadness. It's unfortunate that we're here with another police-involved shooting of a young African-American man. I'm angry and I'm sad and I have a whole lot of emotions, and I'm sure you do too. We just want you to know that we're here for you. I know it's hard with distance learning and not being in person all the time to reach out, but you can reach out to the counselors via email, a telephone call, or by stopping in and making an appointment. And we also have a team of social workers that are ready to hold space for you guys to process all the feelings around everything that's going on in our nation. As the trial of Derek Chauvin is coming to an end next week, we know that there are a lot of emotions around that, as well as fears as to what could happen to our city. Please feel free to reach out.
Hey Millers,
I'm Miss Collier or Miss Amanda. I am part of your social work team here at Washburn. There's also Michelle Nelson, John Juberville, and Jesse Ahmed. We're all available and ready to support you in any way we can. Feel free to stop by, say hi, or stay a while. Whatever you need, we can help figure it out. I'm located on the garden level, 013A. Come see us anytime. Take care.
Dante Wright was a student in Minneapolis, and so I have several friends that I know of who worked with him and cared very much about him. And every time we lose a student, our heart cracks open. But it is especially traumatic when we lose a student to police violence. I lost a student of mine to police violence a few years ago. He was killed in Chicago by police at a gas station. And at that time, I didn't understand some of what I understand now about the system that protects police in those type of situations. I used to believe that the police were sort of always on the side of right. And even in that situation, even talking with my other former students who were telling me about the situation and how it had unfolded, and a story that was very different from what had been in the newspaper. And at that time, and this was about 13 years ago, at that time I thought, well, if it's in the newspaper, it must be true. If the police department said it, it must be true. And we've obviously learned over the past few years that sometimes that isn't always the case, and that what we hear in the community needs to really be listened to. So I really hold that experience as one that has impacted me a lot, and I invite you all to realize too that in these type of situations, every player was somebody's former student, and there's somebody out there going, wow, what could we have done maybe differently, and we don't know, but we think about that all the time. And I share that just to acknowledge the learning that we as you teachers and educators go through over our careers as we learn about how things really are. Because when you're raised in one type of situation, you don't necessarily know what things look like in another community until we learn. And so I invite our whole community to always be thinking about how can we be learning together and help each other all to grow. And that is also why I am so committed to an integrated school and integrated education, because I think it's so important for all of us to be learning from each other. How do we create community together? And that is an ongoing journey, but it's one that is very, very central at Washburn High School.
Good morning, Millers. I'm Ms. Turpening, one of your assistant principals. I come to you today with a lot of other staff feeling hurt and frustrated in the context of what so many of us are experiencing right now. I think about Minnesota in the last 20 years, and I have a few statistics to share with you to give context to the fear and sadness that so many of us are feeling. In Minnesota alone, over the last 20 years, there have been 207 police-involved deaths. In the city of Minneapolis, we have 31 of them. 21 of them were black men who were killed. Our representation, our demographics of Minneapolis are 63% white and 18% black. It doesn't match up. Minneapolis has 6% of the state's population, yet has suffered 15% of the police-involved deaths in the last 20 years. We stand with you knowing that something has to be different. And we stand with you just trying to be there for you with whatever way we can support you.
My name is Johanna McBee. I'm a junior, and this is a statement, a eulogy, and a poem I wrote in response to Dante Wright's murder. Sometimes I think it's the end. For a moment, I find myself in peace until I see the news. Another black man dead, and I'm reminded of our reality. How many more black bodies will it take to please you? How many more live lynchings, traffic stop executions, brutal beatings, Cries for mothers, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. How many times does our city have to burn? How many communities destroyed? Emmett Till because he whistled. Tamir Rice for being a child. A Tatiana Jefferson, wrong place, wrong time. How many more lives lost? So much white silence in Minnesota nice. Performative posts and meaningless signs. Like we aren't dying. Like this ain't the equivalent to being hanged from a tree with everyone watching. Like cops weren't created to catch and kill. Like this is just a one-time thing and not genocide. Like this system is broken when it works the way it's supposed to. So what will you say? What will you do when this all comes back to you? When truth comes knocking at your door? When it's time to answer for all crimes you committed, all children you took, what will you say on your day of reckoning? I'm sorry. On Sunday, April 11th, Dante Wright was murdered at the hands of a police officer. In the name of racism, in the name of hate. There is no need for further circumstance. The bad or good he's done is irrelevant to his death, his life being taken. To justify a murder or to bestow martyr onto someone is to dehumanize them. Dante lived. That's what matters. He lived.
Honestly, it's kinda hard for me to see beyond the surface, cause really we just need for y'all to fight for us, cause it's not a trending topic, this is life for us. Yeah, y'all let them make a mess until the spot blow up. Yeah, it's fun being black until the cops show up. And we just living through it day by day. It's 2020, we still running from the KKK. You can die from the cops or you can die from the ops, and they shooting up the block, yo, it ain't that safe. We just need equality, it's only halfway fair. But these politicians lying, they only halfway clear. Yo, they only bout the money and it's getting kinda funny. It's July 2020, we only halfway there. We need U-N-I-T-Y. Yeah. U-N-I-T-Y, that's the unity. U-N-I-T-Y. U-N-I-T-Y, that's the unity. Bounce. U-N-I-T-Y. U-N-I. U-N-I-T-Y, that's a unity. U-N-I-T-Y. U-N-I. U-N-I-T-Y, that's the unity.